For most on Things to Invest, talk about investing, finance, and professional development. For today's items only, the investment talk today will be Ethereum ETH. First, I want to say happy Saturday, everybody. Have a great week so far. Respect to recording time of 7:49 a.m. on the Eastern Time. Ethereum currently trading $3,301, up about 1.87% so far. Respect to overall crypto market is relatively normalizing today, rebounding from the sell-off that we've experienced across the whole crypto market yesterday. Respect to Bitcoin up about 1% so far, Ethereum up about close to 2% so far, Dogecoin up about 2.16%, while Cardano up about 13% respectively at the moment. Solana is still hovering on a sideways fashion, below the $200 mark at the 182, hovering on a sideways fashion, down about 0.72%, while XRP is still testing at the level that we ideally want a dollar cost average at, right? The $1.09 level. So specifically for Ethereum, before I go through the technical analysis, to look at the momentum in the foreshadow perspective, let's take a look at the news real quick, right? So with respect to the news come out about 19 minutes ago from Decrypt, and the article is basically talk about experimental Ethereum pets, like a Tamagotchi, if you guys remember from back in the day, if you guys are, from the 90s, that the pets die subsequently after a short launch by this loot creator. So it seems like these these virtual pets, these Tamagotchi Ethereum-based NFT-like pets, are cultivating some interest, some popularity among artistic creators, or people just enjoy these type of animate or type of a gaming system, if you may. I wouldn't even call, like, is Tamagotchi these type of things like a pet, like a game? I'm not even sure. I never had one, but it's interesting to see that these are gaining some popularity, some commercialization, not just for. I think these are probably for the younger generation, right? Probably in the early 20s, if you may, or maybe not. Maybe people are reminiscing. I used to. I think my sister used to have one. So, anyways, it's more of a trivial news, nothing substantive, if you may. It's interesting to see these type of NFT adoptions, obviously. Another one coming from CNBC about 10 hours ago, talk about Jim Cramer, which is obviously the commentator or the correspondent on CNBC, right? And during his show, Cramer's Lighting Round, he talks about go buy some Ethereum instead of Hut 8 mining. So we know that Jim Cramer is he is pro Ethereum. He has invested in Ethereum a while back, and I know he bought in somewhere around like the $1,600, if I'm not mistaken. I remember specifically because I watch the CNBC quite frequently. I watch it like basically every single day, around like before the market close, while I was like having my late lunch, if you may, or so I remember he did talk about something along the line. So I'm not sure why he's saying that at this moment right now. Maybe he's speaking upon the level that we have identified, like the 3,150, which technically makes sense. We did hit that yesterday, so yesterday was a logical move for people to dollar cost average around that level. So maybe that's the reason why he's set to go buy some Ethereum. But if we know the market cycle, we know that we need to go through that oscillation, go through that course of cadence. So Jim Cramer can be right or can be wrong, but I think based on I've been keeping tabs historically. He's I would say his judgment is oftentimes more like 50-50, right? He's more of a common, like a entertainer rather than an actual stock analyst, if you may. Like the things that he talks about sometimes is substantive, but sometimes it's relatively more emotional based. And also at the same time, he's a public figure, so we have to take everything he says with a strong bias, right? So something that we just have to be cautious of, right? Another news coming from Decrypt about 13 hours ago, talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana price slips, right, which is something we've seen so far, right? This is not new news, and I think this is relatively old new news because we saw the sell-off about 48 hours ago, not 13 hours ago, right? We saw that Ethereum hit below when we crashed below the 3,823, and then we subsequently crashed all the way down to even close to the $3,000 mark, right? So this is not something that we, this is something we have been talking about for the last 3 videos so far. And then another one talk about on Decrypt about 10 hours ago again. An NFT called Dune, D-U-N-E, sparked backlash over Ethereum environmental impact. Obviously, this is something that we have been hearing so far with respect to the high gas fee problem, because of the high computing power that it needs to obviously cultivate or mine these Ethereum. So something to be aware of. But these NFTs are definitely getting more and more popularity. With respect to these commercializations for these NFT collectibles, it could be either a Tamagotchi, it could be an art form, like like the one Stephen Kerr has bought, like a picture of a JPEG form of an ape in a suit, right? Remember? And then another one, talk about last one. This is the latest news that we got. Another regurgitation news that we talked about yesterday. This vaccine stock, 3 months return makes Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin look trifling. Obviously, with respect to the COVID variants news that we've been hearing so far, pharma companies or pharmaceutical companies, if you may, have been stepping up their games, right, to cultivate more vaccines, as a booster, to reinforce, to try to mitigate the cases going forward. But seems like with respect to the countrywide, in the US specifically, it seems like the cases are spiking selectively in respective states, right? Especially in New York, I've been experiencing, I've been observing too, on a case-by-case basis, right? Also on the West Coast as well, right? So something that is more of a negative foreshadow is something you would definitely have to be cautious and worry about. And definitely be careful when you guys are going outside. Try to stay, sanitize and cover your cover your face with a mask at all time, and try to be cautious, right? But ultimately, eventually, we need to, go through this course of cadence, right? Pandemic's never a good thing. It's something that, hopefully, by the end of this year, or sometimes like early in Q1, this whole economy globally will recover from this whole pandemic, and we will move on from this obviously negative experience that we've been experiencing so far, right? So anyways, with respect to technical analysis on Ethereum, we are currently up about 1.6% so far. I'm recording as of 8 a.m. on the Eastern time right now. So with respect to the MACD and RSI right now, MACD is still crossing downward. So we have not seen any curvature yet. The curvature is actually leaning more off the opposite side. We're leaning more downward even further ever since the sell-off had. So we basically had like 2 confirmation, the one negative one and then another one. So 2, subsequent sell-off. And the RSI is kind of curving up right now, but it's curving up in the mid level. So this is not a bad level to buy at, because we do have some consolidation zone that we've formed before, right? But ideally for me, right, again, like the 3,000, the 3,150, if you got lucky yesterday, congratulations to you for buying at that level. That's the smart move, But ultimately, we still have some room to fall down to, right? So I would be a little bit more patient. But if you want to buy it now, it's totally fine, right? Because the risk is okay, right? It's not like as severe as we were before, right? We saw that coming, right? When we were leaping up ever since the 20th of July all the way to the 4,000. So this is just a logical move for us to be dollar cost averaging, or start incurring risk, if you may, because the risk is more normalized, more moderate at the moment, right? But ideally for me, 3,000, 2,750, 2,450, I think 2,450 would really, really be the bottom. And I think if we get to these levels, like between 2,750, 2,450, you will basically be drilling oil this time. I don't see 1,750. Like, I think this extremely unlikely. But ultimately, we have to see how the oscillation goes, right? If we trade on a sideways fashion for a long time and slowly depleted, right, and then have a spike and then sell off, we could recorrect and then change the course of nature here. But at this moment right now, 1,750 would be very unlikely. I give that maybe like a 10% likelihood. But 2,750, that's still game. You know what I'm trying to say? So With respect to the cheat sheet, it seems like we are still in the late stage of or mid stage of anxiety. I don't think we're in denial yet. I think we still need to see a sell down to go below 3,000 for us to feel that denial. And then we, obviously see the panic and people start selling off, and that could potentially be like a flash crash to the 2,450, right? And with respect to the price level that we've identified to enter at, again, right, the 3,150 is not a bad level, but 3,000 is a better level. 2,750, 2,450 is still the level that I will stay within my frame of reference for myself, obviously. But if you bought in, at the 4,000, right, or the low 4,000, like the 3,950, right, just hold for a long term, because ultimately we get to these levels, right? And 12 months, I think we should get close to like $10,000 by next year, by September, right? And that's just a logical course of adoptions and popularizations going forward, and the market cycle time frame as well, right? So hopefully this is helpful. This is my only posting today. Hopefully you guys have a great Saturday, and you'll probably see me again tomorrow on Sunday to give you a more of an up-to-date report, right? If there's anything that's really prompt or really sudden that happens today, I'll try to get on the camera to speak to you guys again to give you more live updates, right? But I think that should be it today. Hopefully nothing crazy will happen today. But really, hopefully this was helpful, and stay tuned for it to come up. Take care.